Aimee and Erin, thank y'all so much for joining me. Aimee, I'm going to start with you. Tell us about your pregnancy center and then when you got notified of this subpoena by the AG.
Sure, Allie. Thank you so much for having me. We have served women and their families for 40 years. We have 5 locations in New Jersey, and women who are scared and vulnerable and think that abortion is their only option can come to us and receive professional services and compassionate care, all free of charge. We have served over 36,000 women and their families in
Wow.
the last 40 years.
Wow. That
So I
is
guess our
amazing.
story with this legal battle started a little over 2 years ago when a representative from the Attorney General's office of our state came to my office and handed me a subpoena. It commanded us to release up to 10 years of documentation on our donor communications, our advertising, our statements about abortion pill reversal, and even our donors' identities and their contact information. It was very daunting and very overwhelming.
Yeah, I can imagine. My goodness. Okay, so First Choice Women's Resource Centers. Before we get into this legal battle, can you tell us a little bit more about the specific services you offer?
Certainly. We provide free pregnancy tests, medical confirmation of pregnancy via ultrasound, options counseling, and a whole host of material services to support a woman through her pregnancy and after the birth of her baby.
And have you ever been in conflict with state or local authorities who tried to hinder your mission at all?
No, never.
This was the first time, so it felt very out of the blue, I'm sure.
It did feel out of the blue, and yet the attack on pregnancy centers in New Jersey had been ramping up the year prior because the Division of Consumer Affairs issued a consumer alert warning the public about quote unquote deceptive crisis pregnancy centers. So we saw that and we were responding to that. So when the subpoena came, it definitely felt more personal, but not a huge shock.
Right. Okay. Erin, tell us first, let's just get down to brass tacks. What is a subpoena?
Sure. So a subpoena is actually Latin for the phrase under penalty. And when you look at the subpoena that Aimee received, you can see why. It twice threatens that if she fails to hand over these 10 years, up to 10 years worth of documentation, including her donor names, their phone numbers, addresses, and their places of present and past employment. If she doesn't just give all of that to the Attorney General, the subpoena threatens that she and her organization could be subject to contempt, as well as a possible loss of license to do business. So it is a legal document that on its face threatens recipients in New Jersey with really dramatic consequences if they don't comply.
Wow. What are the consequences?
So the statute lists several of them. One is being held in contempt of court. One of them is losing their business license. If you can, your advertisements can be shut down. And the statute also sort of opens it up, any other penalty that the court considers necessary until the party, quote, obeys the subpoena. So a really strong regime encouraging people to comply with subpoenas.
Wow. Okay. Are there other pregnancy centers in New Jersey who have received the subpoena as well?
We know of at least one other one, but it has had ramifications even beyond these two centers. One of the amicus briefs submitted in the case detailed that a third center had actually lost their medical director because of the subpoenas. They were worried that their, other business might be impacted by their association with the pregnancy care center. So the medical director resigned upon hearing about the subpoenas. And quite frankly, that seems to have been the whole point. The Attorney General of Missouri, or excuse me, of New Jersey, as
Yeah.
Aimee said, has issued consumer alerts against pregnancy centers. He has warned women to beware of pregnancy centers, and so this idea of sort of scaring them into silence seems to be part of the point here.
So, what is the response to people who say, well, it's not like he is stopping them from functioning. He's just trying to look out for the consumer, look out for potential clients by making them be as transparent as possible and just tell the truth about what they offer. That's all that's going on here. What would be the response to that, Erin?
So I think two responses. One is Justice Thomas brought out at oral argument. There has never been a complaint identified by the Attorney General against First Choice. There
Mm.
simply is no allegation that anyone has been misled by First Choice. And then second, the Attorney General says, donors might have been confused. They might have thought that they were donating to Planned Parenthood rather than to a center that helps women and children. And that's just doesn't pass the straight face test when you look at the donation page. It has pictures of smiling babies and families. Realistically, no one would think that was a donation page for Planned Parenthood. It's clearly an organization that supports both women and children.
Yeah, and that doesn't even make any sense considering the names aren't even close. I guess if you could say someone was completely illiterate, could not see, then I guess anything is possible, but that seems far-fetched to me. Aimee, what effect has this had thus far on your center as far as your personnel and your ability to serve the women in crisis in your area?
I would say another penalty of the subpoena that Erin didn't mention is just the fact that the sheer overwhelming task of complying with the subpoena when you're a small nonprofit is completely overwhelming. I can't even quantify the hours or the staff it would take or anything else. It would be just so difficult. And really, that's the harm right there, right? Because it would take away from our mission of serving women. So how has it affected us? There are certainly volunteers who have not volunteered because of our legal battle. They have come and expressed interest, but have actually told us, you know what, maybe when this calms down, then I can join you and I'll volunteer. It's hard to imagine how many women haven't come to us because when you Google First Choice, they just see a legal battle. So when you're scared and vulnerable, I'm not sure if I were them that I would go to an organization like that. And then, of course, the chill that can perhaps exist for potential donors as well, in terms of wanting to donate to an organization with our mission and yet wondering how that could be affected by a legal battle as well.
Mm. So this is what's meant by the chilling effect, or part of what's meant. Of course, it has a chilling effect in a lot of ways. You have other pregnancy centers who I'm sure are scared to advertise or try to get people into their door because they're afraid this is going to happen to them. But as you just said, it also chills other people. It scares other people off from helping, from donating, because they look and they see the word subpoena and they think, well, they must have done something wrong. And in all of that, it just makes me think that the process is the punishment, even if after all of this compliance, nothing nefarious comes out, which of course it won't. That's not really the point. The point
Right.
isn't really to prove that y'all are guilty. The point is to make it as hard as possible for you to do the nonprofit work that you're trying to do, which is save babies' lives and serve women, right?
That's correct.
Quick pause from that conversation to tell you about a very fitting sponsor for this segment, and that is We Heart Nutrition. I love We Heart Nutrition. I take their supplements every day. I take their multivitamin. I take their magnesium. I take their omega-3s. I take their immunity supplement, which is new. Whenever I'm feeling like a little bit down, it really helps me kick it. Their probiotic has been an amazing addition to my vitamin regimen. Let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, I take their iron supplement. I literally take everything. The only thing that I wasn't taking from We Heart Nutrition was the probiotic, but that's just because they hadn't come out with it yet. Now that they've done that, I am 100% filled with We Heart Nutrition supplements, and I'm so grateful for it. It helps me stay healthy. It helps me feel good. It helps my hair, skin, and nails. All of the most bioavailable ingredients are used, so my body is actually absorbing the things that I need. Plus, this is an unapologetically pro-life, pro-Jesus family-owned company. They put so much heart and soul into every product that they make, and they also donate to pregnancy centers with every single sale. They have donated so much money to these pregnancy centers because that is where their heart is, and they put their money where their heart is, and you can do that too. Order We Heart Nutrition at weheartnutrition.com. Use code Allie. You'll get 20% off your order. That's weheartnutrition.com, code Allie. So, Erin, tell us where things stand right now. What does this fight looked like, and what's happening at the moment?
Sure. So, as Aimee said, she was served with a subpoena almost 2 years ago. And to sort of give your listeners just a small glimpse of what Aimee has stood through, there has been a legal battle taking place not only in the federal courts, but also in the state courts. So, Alliance Defending Freedom filed suit on her behalf in federal court, said that they're not entitled to this information, especially the donor names. Meanwhile, the Attorney General filed suit in state court. So altogether, there have been over 50 briefs in, I think, 5 different courts filed in this litigation. And again, First Choice is focused on helping women and children, not fighting legal battles. So a huge burden on the nonprofit. And currently, we were extremely thankful. The Supreme Court actually granted cert of this case, heard oral argument in the case last Tuesday, which it does in only a very small fraction of cases that people ask for the court to review. And the court seemed quite sympathetic to First Choice's arguments. A number of the justices, from Justice Kagan to the Chief Justice, really indicated that just out of common sense, donors are going to be hesitant to donate to an organization that has been targeted by the state's highest law enforcement officer. Justice Thomas pointed out that no complaint has been filed or identified by the Attorney General's office. And so Justice Gorsuch was really keen on those legal penalties that you mentioned. And so the court seemed quite concerned about both the sort of power disparity between the Attorney General's office and a small nonprofit issuing a subpoena demanding things that the Constitution protects. So we are hopeful. The case has been fully argued, will hopefully come out in several months. It could be as late as June, but we are hoping and praying for a result that will protect both Aimee as well as other pregnancy centers around the country.
Yes, absolutely. And I meant to ask this earlier, but with only these 2 pregnancy centers targeted in New Jersey, why First Choice?
I have no idea. You're listening to Aimee. She does such a good job. I don't know if it's perhaps because she's one of the more prominent organizations helping women in New Jersey. You've heard about the 36,000 women that they have helped. So perhaps it's just because they're doing such good work.
Yeah.
When you look across the country, like to get sort of an X on your back or a target on your back, you wouldn't think that helping women when no one else is there would do that, but it certainly has in some blue states.
Yeah. Aimee, tell me what the Lord has taught you and the other staff and volunteers at the pregnancy center through this difficulty.
Boy, there's so much that he's taught me. It's just, I have story after story of how personally he's come. I think one of the things that he's taught me is that he wastes nothing, that everything in your life is purposeful, and everything in your life, when given to him, can prepare you for what he has for you. So he wastes nothing. He's also shown us that what the enemy intends for evil, God uses for good, for the saving of many lives. I've seen that in many different ways for our staff, the unity and the cohesive nature of our staff and our board, the courage that everyone has had, and how we have united through this is really a gift. So those are a couple of things. It's been a sweet time with him over the last 2 years. I can certainly say that.
God is so good. How long have you been serving in this position?
35 years.
35. 35 of the 40 years. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
What an incredible blessing. I'm so thankful for you. I have the privilege of speaking to a lot of pregnancy centers at their galas and banquets all across the country. And I never cease to be in awe of what the Lord does through the directors at these pregnancy centers. There's a lot of other things that you could have chosen to do that would have been a lot easier, that would have paid a lot of money, different things. But you have gone where the Lord has called you, and I'm just very grateful. And he, I'm sure, used the 33 years before this subpoena was issued to prepare you for this moment. And I know it's a lot to ask that over the course of 3.5 decades, I ask you to pull out one story of one client who has been served and whose baby has been saved at first choice. But if you have one top of mind, I would love to hear it.
Oh, I would be glad to. One that comes to mind is Mila, and she's just special because I think she's the first woman for whom we were instrumental in providing the abortion pill reversal. So she had taken the first abortion pill and then went home and looked at her children and realized what she had done and regretted it. And her friend went online and found the National Abortion Pill Reversal Hotline, and they contacted us since she was in our area. And she took the progesterone, which is just a natural hormone that occurs in a woman's body, and reversed the effects of the first pill. And her daughter, Scarlett, is 8 years old today. I think she's in third grade. And you just realize that anything like this legal battle, while we wouldn't have chosen it, God has chosen us, and the women and the babies that we serve are worth this fight because they need pregnancy centers across the nation. So it's all worth it when you look at her sweet face and look at her mom.
Absolutely. Well, Aimee and then Erin, how can we support you just as a center, but also in this specific battle? Because as Erin articulated, like this is not just about you guys. Like this represents all pro-lifers in a sense, but certainly all pregnancy centers. So first tell us, Aimee, how we can support First Choice.
Prayer, that's the best way. There are people praying all throughout the nation. I had a pregnancy center director from Alaska call me on Friday and say, "We are praying for you." So you do realize that this fight has become personal for a lot of pregnancy centers because they know it could be them.
Yeah.
So prayer, without a doubt. Find your local pregnancy center and volunteer.
Yes.
Look up pregnancy center in your area and volunteer, see what their needs are. We're grassroots, small nonprofits, and we just appreciate people. And then if people are led to give, our website is firstchoicegive.com. So that's always an option as well. And support your local pregnancy center too.
Thank you so much. And Erin, how can we support y'all specifically as this battle continues to wage?
I think I would just, heartily support all of the things that Aimee said. Pray for a broad outcome that will really make clear that hostile state officials cannot harass pregnancy care centers or anyone else just because they disagree with their point of view and what they're standing for. So prayers just for a broad decision. That again, the justices seemed really sympathetic to that viewpoint, so we are hopeful. But just the ability to protect women and children should be so foundational to our country, to what we are as a country, and so prayers for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much. And thanks for taking up this mantle. Always easier not to do so. But the Lord, I guess, kind of put this in y'all's lap. And I don't know all the reasons why for it, but I know that he does work all things together for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. And I love hearing the stories of how he is continuing to save lives through y'all's obedience. So thank y'all so much. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, ADF. And we will absolutely be praying for First Choice. So thank you, Aimee.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.